Welcome back to Old Valuable Coins, the place where small coins can turn into big money. Today, we're diving into some Lincoln pennies that many people ignore, but collectors are quietly searching for. Before you spend your old 1-cent coins, you might want to watch this carefully, because one of these could be hiding serious value. Let's start with the 1951 D Lincoln cent. The 1951 D 1-cent coin, commonly known as the 1951 D Lincoln wheat penny, is a United States 1-cent coin that belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small D mint mark located under the date on the obverse side of the coin. The 1951 D penny is made primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was a standard composition for Lincoln cents until 1982. Because of this high copper content, the coin has a warm reddish-brown appearance when well preserved, although many circulated examples today appear darker brown due to oxidation and long-term handling. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has been one of the most recognized in American coinage history. Above Lincoln's head, the word Liberty is inscribed along the left side, while the motto "In God We Trust" appears above his head in a curved line. The year 1951 is positioned on the right side in front of Lincoln's chest area, and directly below the date, the small D mint mark identifies the Denver Mint production. Brenner's initials VB are not present on this coin, as they were removed from the earliest 1909 design and only reintroduced later in small form on Lincoln cents beginning in 1918 on the reverse, not on the obverse. The reverse of the 1951 D Lincoln cent features the wheat ears design, which is why these coins are commonly referred to as wheat pennies. This reverse design was also created by Victor David Brenner and was used from 1909 until 1958. In the center of the reverse, the words 1 cent are boldly displayed, and directly beneath it appears United States of America. Along the top rim of the coin, the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is inscribed. On both the left and right sides of the design, 2 wheat stalks curve upward, symbolizing agricultural prosperity and America's farming strength during the early and mid-20th century. The 1951 D penny was produced during the post-World War II economic expansion period in the United States. During this time, the country was experiencing industrial growth, population increases, and rising consumer demand. The U.S. Mint was striking large quantities of coins to support everyday commerce. The Denver Mint produced over 625 million pennies in 1951, making the 1951 D Lincoln cent one of the higher mintage wheat cents of the early 1950s. Because of this high production number, the coin is considered common in circulated condition today, meaning it is not rare in general circulation grades. Even though it is common, collectors still seek the 1951 D penny for several reasons. One of the main reasons is its historical value as part of the wheat cent series, which ended in 1958, when a Lincoln Memorial reverse replaced the wheat ears design. Another reason is that collectors of Lincoln cents often aim to complete full date and mint sets, which include every year and mint mark combination from 1909 onward. The 1951 D coin is an important piece in that complete collection. The condition of a 1951 D penny plays a major role in its value. Coins found in heavily circulated condition, where the details are worn and the surfaces are smooth or scratched, usually have minimal monetary value beyond face value. However, coins that are well preserved, especially those that retain strong detail in Lincoln's hair, cheekbone, and wheat stalks, can be worth significantly more. Uncirculated examples, meaning coins that were never used in daily transactions and have no wear, can range from a few dollars to higher depending on their grade and eye appeal. Red-colored, uncirculated examples are especially desirable. In numismatics, copper coins are often classified by color: red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN. A 1951 D Lincoln cent that still retains most of its original bright red copper luster is considered more valuable than a brown tone example. Over time, copper naturally oxidizes and darkens, so finding a fully red specimen from 1951 is increasingly difficult, especially one that has not been cleaned or artificially altered. The strike quality of the 1951 D penny is generally considered good compared to some other mid-century Lincoln cents, although slight variations can exist. Some coins may show weaker details in the wheat stalks or Lincoln's hair, depending on die, wear during production. Collectors often look for sharp strikes with full details, as these are more desirable and command higher premiums. Error coins also exist within the 1951 D Lincoln cent production, although they are not extremely common. Possible mint errors can include off-center strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks, RPM, and lamination errors in the copper planchet. These error varieties can significantly increase collector interest and value, depending on severity and rarity. For example, a strong repunched mint mark showing clear W the D can be much more valuable than a standard example. The weight of a 1951 D penny is approximately 3.11 grams, consistent with other copper Lincoln cents of the era. Its diameter is 19 millimeters, and it has a plain edge with no reading. These specifications remain consistent for decades, making Lincoln cent highly uniform and easy to recognize. From a historical perspective, the 1951 D penny represents a period in American coinage where coins were still made from mostly pure copper before the transition to cheaper metals in the 1980s. During the early 1950s, copper was still relatively inexpensive, and coin production was heavily focused on durability and mass circulation rather than precious metal content. Today, however, the copper content alone in older pennies gives them intrinsic metal interest among collectors and hobbyists. The collecting community for Lincoln wheat pennies is one of the most active in numismatics. Many beginners start with wheat cents because they are still relatively affordable and widely available in circulation or bulk coin lots. Now moving to the 1953 D penny. The 1953 D Lincoln cent is a small copper coin that carries a deep sense of American history, craftsmanship, and everyday economic life from the early 1950s. Struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark on the reverse side, just below the date, this coin represents a time when the United States was transitioning through post-World War II growth, industrial expansion, and a strengthening middle class. Even though it is only a 1-cent coin, it holds significance for collectors and historians alike because of its design, composition, minting process, and the context in which it was produced. The coin features a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that had already been in use since 1909. This portrait was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VB can be found on the coin, though in 1953 they appear in a much smaller and more subtle placement at the lower edge of Lincoln's shoulder. The obverse includes the inscription, "In God We Trust," along the top, "Liberty," to the left of Lincoln's profile, and the year 1953 on the right side. The portrait itself is simple yet dignified, showing Lincoln facing right, capturing his thoughtful and serious expression. Over the decades, this design became one of the most recognizable coin portraits in the world. On the reverse side, the 1953 D cent displays a classic wheat ears design, which is why these coins are often called wheat pennies. Two stylized wheat stalks curve along the left and right edges, framing the central inscriptions. At the top, the words E Pluribus Unum appear in small lettering. In the center, the denomination 1 cent is prominently displayed, with United States of America below it. The wheat design symbolizes agricultural prosperity and reflects the importance of farming in the American economy at the time. This reverse design was used from 1909 until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The composition of the 1953 D Lincoln cent is primarily copper, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition had been standard for many years, except for a brief change during World War II when copper was needed for military purposes. By 1953, the coin had returned to its traditional bronze composition, giving it a warm reddish-brown color when freshly minted. Over time, depending on how the coin was stored and handled, it can develop different tones ranging from bright red to deep brown. Collectors often classify these coins based on their color as red RD, red-brown RB, or brown BN, with fully red examples generally being the most desirable and valuable. The Denver Mint produced a large number of these coins in 1953, with mintage exceeding 700 million pieces. This high mintage means that the coin is relatively common compared to some earlier issues. However, despite its abundance, condition plays a major role in determining its value. Coins that have been heavily circulated typically show wear on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, as well as flattening on the wheat ears on the reverse. These circulated examples are usually worth only a small premium over face value, though they still hold appeal for beginners and casual collectors. In contrast, uncirculated examples of the 1953 D-cent, especially those with strong luster and minimal marks, can be much more valuable. Coins graded in higher mint state levels, such as MS-65 or above, are sought after by collectors who aim to assemble high-quality sets. The presence of original mint luster, which gives a coin a almost appearance under light, is an important factor in grading. Additionally, coins that have fewer contact marks, sharp details, and vibrant color tend to command higher prices in the market. Another interesting aspect of the 1953 D. Lincoln cent is the possibility of minting errors and varieties. While this particular year is not especially famous for major error types, collectors still search for minor variations such as double dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. These errors occur during the minting process and can make a coin unique. Even small imperfections can attract attention if they are clearly visible and well-preserved. The minting process itself involves several steps, beginning with the creation of planchets, which are the blank metal discs used to make coins. These planchets were fed into presses where dies stamped the obverse and reverse designs onto the metal with significant force. At the Denver Mint, this process was carried out on a massive scale to meet the demand for circulating coinage. Quality control was important, but given the volume of production, some variations and minor defects were inevitable. From a historical perspective, the 1953 D. Lincoln cent reflect a period of stability and growth in the United States. The early 1950s were marked by economic expansion, suburban development, and increased consumer spending. Coins like this were used daily in transactions, making them a direct link to the everyday lives of people during that era. Holding such a coin today can feel like holding a small piece of that history. For collectors, the appeal of the 1953 D-cent lies not only in its design and history, but also in its accessibility. Because it is relatively common, it is an excellent coin for beginners who are just starting a collection of Lincoln cents. At the same time, advanced collectors may seek out the finest known examples, competing for coins with exceptional quality and eye appeal. This range of interest makes the coin a versatile addition to any collection. Storage and preservation are important considerations for maintaining the condition of a 1953 D. Lincoln cent coins should be kept in a cool, dry environment away from moisture and extreme temperature changes. Using protective holders such as coin flips, capsules, or albums can help prevent damage. It is generally advised not to clean coins, as cleaning can remove the original surface and reduce their value significantly. Natural aging and toning are often preferred by collectors over artificially altered surfaces. The market value of a 1953 D. Lincoln cent can vary widely depending on its condition and color. Circulated examples may be worth only a few cents, while uncirculated coins in high grades can reach several dollars or more. Exceptional specimens with full red color and near-perfect surfaces can achieve even higher prices, especially if they are certified by professional grading services. Next, the 1956 Lincoln cent. The 1956 1-cent coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series in the United States, a coin that had already become one of the most recognizable and widely used pieces of currency in everyday American life by the mid-20th century. This coin represents not only a unit of monetary value, but also a reflection of American history, artistry, and economic conditions during the 1950s. By 1956, the Lincoln cent had been in continuous production for nearly half a century, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design and structure of the coin had remained largely consistent, making the 1956 issue a continuation of a familiar and trusted form of currency. The obverse of the 1956 Lincoln cent features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This was the first time in U.S. history that a real historical figure appeared on a circulating coin, breaking from earlier traditions that favored symbolic representations like Lady Liberty. Lincoln is shown in right-facing profile, with a calm, thoughtful expression that reflects his leadership and legacy. Above his head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," which had been added to U.S. coins in the 19th century. To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the word Liberty, and to the right is the date 1956. The initials VB, representing Brenner's name, are subtly placed on the lower part of Lincoln's shoulder, a feature that had once caused controversy when the coin was first introduced, but was later reinstated in a less prominent form. The reverse side of the 1956 cent features the classic wheat ears design, which had been used from 1909 until 1958. This design includes two stylized wheat stalks curving along the edges of the coin, symbolizing agricultural abundance and prosperity. Between the wheat ears, the inscriptions read 1 cent and United States of America, clearly indicating the coin's denomination and origin. At the top of the reverse is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, reflecting the unity of the states. This wheat design gives the coin its popular nickname, Wheat Penny, and remains beloved by collectors for its classic and nostalgic appearance. The 1956 Lincoln cent was minted at two primary locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Coins produced in Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark, while those minted in Denver bear a small D mint mark located below the date on the obverse. The mintage figures for 1956 were quite high, with hundreds of millions of coins struck to meet the needs of a growing economy. Because of this large production, the 1956 cent is generally considered a common coin, especially in circulated condition. However, its value and desirability can vary significantly depending on its condition and specific characteristics. In terms of composition, the 1956 Lincoln cent is made primarily of copper, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This bronze alloy gives a coin its distinctive reddish color when freshly minted. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling can cause the coin's surface to oxidize, resulting in a range of colors from bright red to brown. Collectors classify these coins based on their color into three categories: red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN. Coins that retain their original red luster are generally the most valuable, as they are considered to be in the best preserved condition. The condition or grade of a 1956 cent plays a crucial role in determining its value. Coins that have been circulated typically show signs of wear, such as smoothing of Lincoln's hair and facial features, as well as wear on the wheat ears on the reverse. These circulated coins are usually worth only a small premium over face value. On the other hand, uncirculated coins which have not been used in everyday transactions can be much more valuable. These coins often retain their original mint luster, a sheen that reflects light and highlights the coin's details. High-grade examples, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, are particularly sought after by collectors. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1956 Lincoln cent is the existence of a well-known variety known as the 1956 double die obverse. This variety is a result of a misalignment during the die creation process, causing a noticeable doubling effect on certain elements of the obverse design, particularly the date and inscriptions. While not extremely rare, this variety is highly collectible and can command significantly higher prices than standard 1956 cents, especially in higher grades. Collectors often examine coins carefully using magnification to identify such varieties, as they add uniqueness and value to an otherwise common issue. The minting process of the 1956 cent involves several steps, beginning with production of planchets or blank metal discs. These planchets were then fed into coin presses, where dies struck the obverse and reverse designs onto the metal with great force. The process required precision and efficiency, as millions of coins needed to be produced to meet demand. Despite quality control measures, minor variations and errors could occur, leading to the creation of collectible error coins. Historically, the year 1956 was a time of economic growth and relative stability in the United States. The country was experiencing the benefits of post-World War II industrial expansion, and the use of coins like the Lincoln cent was an essential part of daily commerce. These coins were used in everything from small purchases to vending machines, making them a constant presence in people's lives. Today, they serve as tangible reminders of that era, connecting collectors to the past in a meaningful way. For collectors, the 1956 Lincoln cent offers both accessibility and variety. Because it is relatively common, it is an excellent choice for those who are new to coin collecting. At the same time, the presence of different mint marks, color variations, and error types provides opportunities for more advanced collectors to build specialized collections. Some collectors focus on assembling complete sets of Lincoln cents by date and mint mark, while others seek out only high-grade or rare varieties. Proper storage and care are essential for preserving condition of a 1956 cent coins should be kept in a dry, stable environment, ideally in protective holders such as coin flips, capsules, or albums. Exposure to moisture, chemicals. Now let's talk about the 1956 D penny. The 1956 D1 cent coin is a classic example of mid-20th century United States coinage and belongs to the long-running Lincoln Wheat cent series, a design that had already become deeply familiar to the American public by the time this coin was struck. Produced at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse, this coin reflects a period of strong economic growth, industrial expansion, and widespread everyday use of low-denomination currency. Although it carries a face value of just 1 cent, its historical, artistic, and collectible significance extends far beyond its original purchasing power. The obverse of the 1956 D. Lincoln cent features the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Lincoln's birth. This portrait was groundbreaking at the time because it represented the first appearance of a real historical figure on a circulating United States coin, replacing earlier symbolic figures. Lincoln's image is calm and dignified, capturing the character of a leader remembered for preserving the Union and ending slavery. Above his head appears the inscription, "In God We Trust," while the word liberty is positioned to the left of his profile. The date 1956 appears to the right, with a small D mint mark just beneath it, identifying the coin as having been struck in Denver. Brenner's initials VB are subtly engraved at the lower edge of Lincoln's shoulder, a detail that had once sparked controversy but later became a standard feature. The reverse of the coin displays the well-known wheat ears design, which is why coins of this type are often called wheat pennies. Two stylized wheat stalks frame the sides of coin, symbolizing agricultural strength and prosperity, which are key elements of the American economy during the early and mid-20th century. At the top of the reverse is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, representing national unity. Centered on the coin is the denomination 1 cent, with United States of America inscribed below it. This design had been used continuously since 1909 and would remain in use until it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, making the 1956 D coin part of the final years of the wheat cent era. The composition of the 1956 D Lincoln cent consists of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it the characteristic bronze appearance associated with coins of this period. When newly minted, these coins exhibited a bright, reddish luster that collectors often describe as vibrant and eye-catching. Over time, however, exposure to air, moisture, and handling causes oxidation, which can gradually change the color of the coin. As a result, collectors categorize these coins into 3 main color groups: red, red-brown, and brown. Fully red coins, especially those that have retained their original mint luster, are typically the most desirable and valuable, while brown coins are more common and generally less valuable. The Denver Mint produced a large number of 1956 D. Lincoln cents, with mintage figures exceeding 1 billion pieces. This high level of production means that the coin is relatively common, particularly in circulated condition. Millions of these coins entered everyday commerce, where they were used in countless transactions, from buying small goods to making change. Because of this heavy circulation, many surviving examples show signs of wear. Common areas of wear include Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline on the obverse, as well as the wheat ears on the reverse, which may appear flattened or less detailed. Despite its high mintage and general availability, the condition of a 1956 D cent plays a crucial role in determining its value. Circulated coins are typically worth only a small premium over their face value, often just a few cents. However, uncirculated examples, which have not been used in daily transactions, can be significantly more valuable. These coins often retain their original mint luster, a reflective quality that enhances their visual appeal. High-grade coins, particularly those graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services, are especially sought after by collectors who aim to build high-quality sets of Lincoln cents. One of the more intriguing aspects of collecting 1956 D. Lincoln cents is the possibility of finding mint errors or varieties. While this particular issue is not as famous for major varieties as some other years, minor errors such as die cracks, off-center strikes, or slight doubling in the design can still occur. These errors are the result of imperfections or irregularities during the minting process and can add a layer of uniqueness to an otherwise common coin. Collectors often examine coins carefully, sometimes using magnification, to identify such features. The minting process for the 1956 D cent began with the production of planchets, which are blank discs made from the bronze alloy. These planchets were then fed into high-speed coin presses, where dies impress the obverse and reverse designs onto the metal with significant force. The Denver Mint, known for its efficiency and large-scale production capabilities, was responsible for producing a substantial portion of the nation's coinage during this period. Although quality control measures were in place, the sheer volume of coins produced meant that minor variations and imperfections were inevitable. From a historical perspective, the 1956 D. Lincoln cent reflects the economic and social conditions of the United States during the 1950s. This was a time of prosperity, suburban expansion, and increased consumer activity. Coins like the Lincoln cent were an essential part of everyday life, facilitating small transactions and serving as a constant presence in the economy. Today, these coins provide a tangible connection to that era, offering collectors a glimpse into the past. For those interested in coin collecting, the 1956 D. Lincoln cent offers both accessibility and opportunity. Its abundance makes it an ideal starting point for beginners, while its variations in condition, color, and potential errors provide depth for more experienced collectors. Some collectors focus on assembling complete sets of Lincoln cents by date and mint mark, while others aim to acquire the highest grade examples available. The 1956 D coin fits well into both approaches. And finally, the 1958 D Lincoln cent. The 1958 D1 cent coin is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat cent series, a long-running and highly collected group of coins in United States history. Struck at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse, this coin represents a final phase of the wheat cent era, as 1958 was the last year this reverse design was ever produced. This alone gives the 1958 D cent a special place among collectors, because it marks the end of nearly 50 years of the iconic wheat ears design that began in 1909. The obverse of the coin features the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design was revolutionary when first introduced because it marked the first time a real historical figure appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Lincoln is shown facing to the right with a composed and thoughtful expression. Above his head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," while the word liberty is placed at the left side of his profile. On the right side is the date 1958, and directly below it is a D mint mark, identifying the coin as having been minted in Denver. Brenner's initials VB appear in small lettering on the lower part of Lincoln's shoulder, a detail that had once caused controversy but was later accepted as part of the design. The reverse of the 1958 D cent features the classic wheat ears design, which is why these coins are often referred to as wheat pennies. Two stylized wheat stalks run along the left and right edges of the coin, framing the central inscriptions. At the top is a Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, symbolizing unity. In the center is a denomination 1 cent, and below that is United States of America. This simple yet elegant design reflects the importance of agriculture in American identity during the early 20th century. Since 1958 was the final year for this reverse, it carries added historical importance as the closing chapter of this design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. The composition of the 1958 D. Lincoln cent is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it the traditional bronze composition used for most Lincoln cents before the major composition changes in later decades. When freshly minted, these coins had a bright reddish color and strong luster. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes oxidation, which changes the color of the coin. Collectors categorize these coins into red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN, based on how much of the original red color remains. Coins that retain their full red color are generally more valuable and desirable, especially in higher grades. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of 1958 D cents, with a mintage exceeding 800 million coins. Because of this high production, the coin is considered common in circulated grades. Many of these coins were heavily used in everyday transactions, which means that most surviving examples show signs of wear. Common areas were include Lincoln's hair and facial features on the obverse, and the wheat ears on the reverse, which may appear flattened or lacking detail in circulated coins. Despite its high mintage, the value of a 1958 D cent can vary significantly depending on its condition. Circulated examples are typically worth only a few cents above face value, making them easily accessible to collectors. However, uncirculated coins, particularly those with strong luster and minimal marks, can be more valuable. High-grade examples, such as those graded MS-65 or higher, are especially sought after by collectors who aim to build high-quality sets. Coins with full red color and excellent eye appeal are the most desirable and can command higher prices in the market. One of the most famous and valuable varieties associated with the year 1958 is the 1958 double die obverse, although this variety is extremely rare and primarily associated with coins from the Philadelphia Mint rather than Denver. The double die shows noticeable doubling in the inscriptions and date, making it highly collectible and valuable. While this specific variety is not typically linked to the Denver minted coins, collectors still carefully examine 1958 D cents for any signs of errors or unusual features. Minor mint errors such as die cracks, off-center strikes, or slight doubling can still be found and may add interest and value to individual coins. The minting process of the 1958 D cent involved producing blank planchets from the copper alloy, which were then struck by dies in high-speed presses at the Denver Mint. The process required precision and consistency, but given the massive scale of production, small variations and imperfections were inevitable. These variations are part of what makes coin collecting interesting, as no two coins are exactly alike. Historically, the 1958 D. Lincoln cent reflects a time of economic prosperity and stability in the United States. The late 1950s were marked by growth, technological advancement, and increased consumer activity. Coins like the Lincoln cent were essential for everyday transactions, and their widespread use makes them a direct connection to daily life during that era. The fact that 1958 was the last year of the wheat design added an additional layer of significance, as it represents the end of a long-standing tradition in American coinage. For collectors, in 1958, D cent offers both accessibility and historical importance. Because it is common, it is an excellent coin for beginners who want to start collecting Lincoln cents. At the same time, its status as a final wheat cent year makes it an essential piece for anyone building a complete set. Advanced collectors may focus on finding high-grade examples with full red color and strong luster, while others may look for interesting errors or varieties. Proper storage and care are important for maintaining the condition of a 1958. D cent coin should be kept in a cool, dry environment away from moisture and contaminants. So what should you do? Check your coins carefully. Look at the year. Look for the D mint mark. And most importantly, check the condition. A simple penny in your pocket could be worth far more than you think. Because in the world of coin collecting, it's not just about age, it's about rarity, condition, and hidden details. Before you go, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Old Valuable Coins, and stay tuned because your next coin could change everything.